Hello, collective, and welcome to the Moon Report. My name is Marlene, the modern mystic, and your resident moon goddess, here to bring you the full moon in Aries. Welcome to fire season. Oh my God, there is so much fire in the cosmos, in the atmosphere, in the energy. And when I talk about fire, it's elemental fire. So it's a lot of transformation, a lot of change, but a lot of forward movement. And this full moon has a little intensity to it just because it's coming off of some serious retrogrades. Venus and Mercury were recently in retrograde. And what that means is that those planets appeared to be going backwards for a period of time in the solar system. So they remind us about stopping and, taking a moment to reflect, taking a moment to review, to revise, to really, really go inward. And based on certain themes in your life, you'd be reflecting on, whatever's going on in your life. However, the major, major theme that we've been dealing with lately has been relationships. And there's been intensity around relationships. So that's where we're kind of maybe feeling things coming to a head or for resolution. But I really like the energy of this Aries full moon because finally we are feeling forward motion. Finally, we are like, there are a few, I think about five planets, and mostly outer planets that are still in retrograde, but the personal planets, the ones that are affecting our daily lives, are going forward. And this full moon in Aries is kind of backing that up and really, really letting us know that nothing's really standing in our way. And that if we are ready to move towards our desires, this is the time. So there's a delicious energy and spark happening with this Aries full moon. And it's again in that forward movement where you can finally have some revelations or insights about things that you've been, thinking about or dreaming about, or, wondering if now is the time to go for it. Well, everything is, and obviously everybody's intuition is always queen, but the universe is supporting us to take those things that are coming to light and try to apply them into action in our lives. Begin to take those steps moving forward towards your desires. And really, go for it. Just go for it and realize that everything that we have learned thus far is time, it's here to help us move forward in a different way, to create that change, to create that ripple effect that will lead us to being more successful in whatever way that works for you, more joyful, more excited about life and about our lives and the role that we're playing and who we're becoming, right? What we're actualizing into. And, that change is maturing a lot of things that we saw during the recent Venus retrograde in Leo, where a lot of these themes came up around relationships, Venus ruling relationships. And, we may be seeing things or have seen things come to light around people pleasing, how that works in relationship, boundaries. What are you setting enough boundaries, or are you setting too many boundaries that is closing you off to experiences in your life? Maybe some of us are dealing with endings of relationships. And remember, when I'm talking about relationships here, it's doesn't, only involve intimate relationships. We're talking about partnerships of all kinds. And, maybe something unsavory around some of these relationships came up. We're seeing sudden revelations and insights around this full moon, not only because the light of the moon is fully illuminated, and it happened this morning at 5:57 a.m. And, we can see how certain things came to light, not only because of the full moon, but during the full moon, Uranus, which is in Taurus, is squaring Venus, which is in Leo, and Venus rules Taurus. So this is an important alignment, given that Venus also came off of this retrograde, and it's in its like post shadow phase, means it's going over the areas that it went over backwards. I know it's kind of complicated, but like that the trajectory that it took backwards is now moving forward through that same trajectory. So we call it a post shadow phase because the themes that were going on around the retrograde may be coming up for resolution and sudden insight, especially when Uranus is involved. Uranus is about sudden change. It's like electricity. It's an awakening of some sort. So because of that, we may have reached a point with certain relationships where like, that's it, we're not compromising anymore. Like there is no more compromise that doesn't devalue me. Because Aries is very much about self-preserving in relationship, right? So, we are finding where we're sacrificing ourselves for certain things, people, others. So, there will be more revelations, or don't be surprised if there are revelations related to relationships that are still coming through. And how are we still seeking validation outside of us? Aries is here to remind us that that inner fire is what gives us validation. That inner fire is what allows us to show up for ourselves and have the confidence in ourselves, even in relationships, especially when we're relating to others. During this full moon, we also have Mars conjunct the South Node, and that's happening in Aries as well. And for those of you who are unfamiliar with the nodes, these are the nodes of the moon. We have our North Node that tells us where we're going, and our South Node that tells us where we're coming from. And collectively, these nodes are in Aries, South Node, and Libra, North Node. No, backwards. Libra, South Node, Aries, North Node, right? All of us in our natal chart also have our own personal nodes, but this is collectively telling us where we are moving towards. And we are moving towards Aries, where the North Node is. And Mars is conjunct the South Node in Libra, where we just have to deal with what we've been fighting ourselves about. Is it unhealthy relationship? Is it aggression in relationships? Is it like old news already that needs to transcend? And we keep holding on and we keep holding on and we keep sacrificing ourselves and we keep people pleasing and we keep on and on and on. And Mars with that South Node is showing us karmically, where we're dealing with certain maybe passive aggressiveness. It may be even you that's being passive aggressive towards others, irritable. Well, we're working through a lot of karma. And I want to say, like always, to give yourself grace. Yes, always, right? So where are we giving ourselves too much grace? And we're just letting things kind of slide by, or brushing them under the proverbial rug, right? And we should be asking these questions. Where are we seeking validation that is outside of ourselves? Or where are we dealing with passive aggressiveness? Is it us? Are we still entertaining unhealthy relationships? Aries is a fresh energy, a fresh start. It is the first sign of the zodiac, and it's giving us that fresh energy that's available now that Venus has gone through her retrograde and is moving forward, and is giving us that opportunity to clean house, to move with a fresher energy that preserves us, that preserves the self. Allow energy to come back to you. Allow power to come back to you. One of the questions I would be asking myself would be, where am I leaking power? And if I'm looking at my relationships, what relationships take, and I don't receive anything? Or is it the other way around? What relations am I taking from and not giving? So here's where the reflection is at, and observe where you can bring some of that power back home to you. Where you haven't been valuing yourself, but now you see, and you can't unsee. Use this fire, excuse me, use this fire to change these things. Use that element of transformation and transmutation. And maybe even perform a ritual today where you burn stuff up and create alchemy with these things. And remember, when I say rituals, they can be as elaborate as you want, or they could just be a few simple words that you write on a piece of paper and you literally burn into a bowl. As you're asking, for the light of God, for the light of spirit, for the light of the universe, whatever it is that you believe in, to surround you with protection and grace. It could be simply declaring that you're cutting these things out of your life, and that you want, the fire inside of you to transmute and transform these changes. But I want to remind you, and I want to remind you, when we set these things in motion, we need to be aware that it will create a ripple effect. When we create rituals, when we set intentions, when we declare things to the universe, when we bid for power, power will respond and will knock at your door. So be sure that you're ready to answer. If not, it's best not to set things in motion that you're not ready for. So before you do any kind of ritual or anything, ask for that fire, for that inner fire, to transmute and transform any kind of doubts and fears before setting things and releasing things, right? Like, so full moons are great for releasing, but sometimes we are not ready to let go of that we're releasing. So know that if you are releasing that symbolically, you are setting series of events into motion, and the universe will support what you ask. Are you ready? So I want to leave you with that. And I want you to enjoy this energy. This could be a really, really fun energy. If you know how to handle the energy, right? Like, if you've prepared your body, if you can nurture, if you can ground, if you can anchor yourself, this could be a time of really, really long lasting change. You know, these intentions that you're releasing today, these things that no longer serve you, so that you can invite new things into your life, will take their process. So I am hoping that the light of the full moon just illuminates all the corners that you need to see, all the things that are important for you to transmute and transform. And I want to pull one card for you before you go from the tarot. A message for you that are watching the replay or that you're here live with me. Whenever you're watching this, just take this as a general message from the moon to you. Give it one more shuffle. The Ace of Swords. So with the Ace of Swords, there is a possibility of a new way of thinking, a shift of perspective. And with Ace of Swords, it's possibilities, right? All the aces are possibilities. But swords is about air. It's about our mental perspective. It's about our mindset. It's about the way that we view things. And here we have an opportunity to really shift and change the way that we're looking at things, right? If there's something in your life that, you know, you've been really kind of mulling over in your mind and it's been taking up some real estate, you know, remember that the possibility of changing is here for you. It's just, are you going to take it? Are you going to step in? Are you going to take one little baby step towards the change that you desire? And if that starts here, sometimes it's the most important place. Because here is where we get tricked. Here is where the illusion happens. But if we can connect our mind and our heart and really move from a new place, move from our intuition, then we can really begin to see things in terms of possibilities. Like I can, or I will, or I'm going to take the first step, or I simply believe in myself and in my abilities. I see now what I didn't see before. So I invite you to create an affirmation. If you are letting go of things today, in terms of maybe perspective, right? And things that just no longer serve you. I invite you to create an affirmation that solidifies the new way, the new perspective, the new shift that you're inviting into your life. So that you can continue after this full moon in Aries to really, really make room and make space for those new things that you want in your life and that you desire. Aries is all about desires. And guess what? It's okay to have desires. Your own. Because you want them. That's it. You don't have to have another reason. You're a human being that has desires, and that is okay. It doesn't always have to be about sacrificing what you want. Just remember that. Okay? Awesome collective. Go out there and have a great full moon. I will see you in the new moon in Libra. But till then, please take care. Big, big, big hugs and lots of love. Mwah.